UFC 309 is happening this weekend at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be one of the biggest fights of all time between the potential GOAT of MMA and the greatest heavyweight of all time in UFC history. So why is everybody talking about Tom Aspinall? Hi, I'm Kevin Woodman. Welcome back to the Kevin Woodman Show. In today's video, I want to talk about the half an hour or so interview that Jon Jones did, basically trying to undo the reality that everyone wants to see him fight Tom Aspinall.
What are those fans getting wrong? Why are you not ducking Tom Aspinall? What are they reading wrong about this situation?
Okay, so I feel like narratives have been created that just truly aren't there. You can't duck a man that you were never scheduled to fight. It's like saying you got turned down by a girl who you never even hit on. You know what I'm saying?
Now, Jon Jones said a couple things there that I do agree with, but one of them that he said really doesn't make a lot of sense, and that's the fact that he said he was never contractually obligated to fight Tom Aspinall. I'm sure that when he called Dana White and he said, hey, I can't fight, I got an injury, Dana White turned right back around and said, okay, we're going to do an interim title fight to save this card, and you will eventually have to fight him. Now, they didn't put pen to paper, but maybe they're asking the wrong guy the wrong questions. Maybe they shouldn't be asking Jon Jones, why don't you want to fight Tom Aspinall? Maybe they should be asking Dana White, why did you not make it clear that he has to fight the interim champion? Because that's how, I mean, he probably thought that that's how they've done it for the last 2 decades. Nobody's ever ducked out of fighting an interim champion and unifying the belts. This is definitely a first for that, and I don't know why Jon Jones. You can see how he thinks that he's bigger than the sport and that he can do what he wants to do. But this is something that the sport's done for 20 years. The UFC has always done this. If an interim title is passed on, they have to eventually do a unification bout with the actual champion. So I don't know why Jon Jones thinks that he gets around that. And I think that Dana's holding the line. I think over time, and the reason that everybody's asking these questions and being so forceful and pushing this narrative on Jon, whether it's the real media or YouTube channels or whatever or social media, I feel like they're all pushing the same thing to say, hey, look, you got to fight this guy. You could always fight Alex Pereira at any point in time. That's definitely something that's a really good fight to be had, but that shouldn't jump over the current interim champion who's done everything he has to do to get a shot at you. I understand he's right when he says that Tom Aspinall doesn't do anything for his legacy. I don't know if Alex Pereira necessarily does either, because to be honest with you, he's probably going to win those fights the same way he's won every other fight. He's too smart. He knows what advantage he has, especially when it comes to Alex Pereira. He knows that guy can't wrestle with him. He out-wrestled Daniel Cormier, who is maybe one of the greatest heavyweights of all time as well, right behind Stipe. So I don't know why he doesn't think that he can out-wrestle Alex Pereira. That's going to be the first thing he does. He's not going to put himself in danger of the punching power that is Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira has more punching power than Francis Ngannou.
Oh my gosh.
Bro. Alex Pereira destroyed Francis Ngannou's punch record, which is astonishing because he was once acknowledged for having the world's hardest punch.
Now, Tom Aspinall doesn't have the same striking ability as Alex Pereira. He's not as dangerous on the feet, but he can finish you. And he also has all the advantages that Jon Jones mentions in this clip here.
I get that Tom is an exciting fighter. I get that finally, after 16 years, we found somebody who's 7 years younger than me and 30 pounds bigger than me. Like, we finally found someone who may give me a great challenge. And everyone wants to see it so bad. But for me, it's like, what is it? What's in it for me?
So Jon Jones is well aware that this guy is younger, he's bigger, he's probably faster, he's probably stronger than Alex Pereira. He probably has all those advantages, and he's definitely going to put up more of a test when it comes to stuffing takedowns, which is how Jon Jones would most likely handle Alex Pereira. So it's not that of course he wants to fight the fight that he thinks is easier. This Stipe fight is easy money. This entire interview, nobody really even asked him about Stipe. They were asking about Tom Aspinall. Everybody's overlooking Stipe based off the fact that he's just old. He hasn't fought in a long time. I expect him to do the same things that he would do to Pereira, they did to DC. Use his length, keep the guy at distance, and basically control the fight that way and take him down at will. Because let's face it, Jon Jones might be the best wrestler that nobody talks about in UFC history. He might be the best light heavyweight wrestler of all time. He took people down at will throughout his entire career. It's one of his biggest weapons. So I fully expect him to do that, but that's one of the biggest things that when it comes up to Tom Aspinall is I don't think he can necessarily do that against Tom Aspinall. At least he has less of a chance to do that against a guy who's also bigger than him, younger than him, stronger than him, faster than him, all those things that Tom Aspinall has, and that's why everybody's asking about that particular fight.
I guess the clarifying question then is, if Dana and Hunter do come to you after this fight, the figures make sense to you, would you then be open to fighting Tom Aspinall, or are you categorically thinking, he does nothing for me, I will not fight that guy?
He does nothing for me. He does nothing for me. if you're a person that wants to see me really challenged, then I get it, right? Like I said, 7 years younger, like 35 pounds bigger than me, right? I get it. It's like, wow, this Jon's so good. We finally found someone way younger and way bigger than him. Let's see how he does against that. I get that narrative. But for me, if you were my manager, if you were on my team, why not fight against Pereira, a guy who's the same age as you, and we walk around the same exact size? Right now, I had to eat a big breakfast because I'm getting underneath 235. Pereira walks around at like 240, and he has magnificent accolades. Business-wise, it makes more sense. I'm going to call him this, fight the nobody that may be more dangerous, or fight the guy with all the accolades who's incredibly dangerous.
Now that brings up another interesting point, is why I said we should be asking Dana this, because Jon Jones has a long history of lying, and Tom Aspinall made a very public statement that he talked to the bosses about fighting Jon Jones. So somebody's lying here.
Me and Dana and Hunter have never sat down and talked about Tom Aspinall. He's never been on my radar. Never.
I just spoke to the boss man, and who wants to see Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones?
Jon Jones did go as far as saying that he'd be more interested in vacating the belt entirely than fighting Tom Aspinall.
I believe I'm at a place where I deserve to be able to say, I don't want to fight that guy. I want to fight this guy. I want to fight that guy. And that's why I'm be more than willing to relinquish the belt. I don't feel like I need the heavyweight championship of the world.
Which makes you think that there was some sort of discussion behind the scenes, because he wouldn't just come up with that on his own. At some point, somebody in the UFC brass would have to bring that to his attention and say, hey, look, you either fight this guy to unify the interim belt, or you give it up.
Tom, that would absolutely be the fight that the world wants to see. Jon Jones is probably watching this, so send him a message.
Hello, Jon. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you in a fight.
Now, probably the most puzzling thing that Jon Jones said about potentially fighting Tom Aspinall had to do with the fact that he just doesn't like that guy.
But if I'm being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an asshole that I don't want to do business with him.
You understand that? He doesn't like that guy, so he shouldn't do business with him. I mean, this is fighting. This is what people want. I mean, were you best friends with DC? Did we all just fall for that gag? You love that guy?
You're the f***ing scum of the earth. You are a terrible human being, but you can sure turn it on, huh?
Thank you.
I wish they would let me next door so I can spit in your f***ing face.
You know I would absolutely kill you if you ever did something like that,
You
right?
could never kill me.
Oh, I bet you I could.
Then you should try, Jon. You really should try, Jon.
No, I would literally kill you if you spit in my face.
Yeah, let's try that, Jon.
Literally kill you.
Let's try that, Jon.
I'm not saying I would fight you. I said I would kill you if
Jon,
you did some
Jon, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, Jon?
Now, there's a lot of hypocritical stuff that Jon is just ignoring as he's giving this interview to the entire world, and I'm sure that's why he doesn't give more interviews like this, because let's be honest, you weren't cool with DC, you weren't cool with a lot of fighters. That's how these fights get exciting, when people hate each other. That DC fight was huge. Did Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo get along?
Oh, dream. Yo, dream.
You like it?
Yeah,
It looks good, right?
never.
Say goodbye.
Never.
Come get it.
You?
Come get it. Come get it. You little old fuck. Come get it.
But you said you smell fear in him.
Yes, there's a beautiful aroma that arouses me.
Let's go a little bit closer. Don't touch. Closer, let's go closer. I want to smell his pussy. I can smell your pussy from here.
It was Conor McGregor antagonizing him every step of the way. The reason that he got that fight is because he had that big of a name and that big of a following, and he was that big of a deal that Jose Aldo didn't have a choice. And that's kind of what Tom Aspinall's trying to do, but he's not doing anything even close to that.
Jon Jones is probably watching this, so send him a message.
Hello, Jon. I have nothing against you personally.
He's being super nice. I don't know where he gets the idea that Tom Aspinall's been an asshole. Tom Aspinall, I can't even find a clip while I'm making this video of Tom Aspinall being an asshole to Jon Jones, but he's trying to spin it that way. That's what makes it exciting, the fact that y'all don't like each other. Fighting's great, but when people hate each other, it's just that much more of exciting. It's that bigger of a story. So the fact that you don't like them, you're doing the exact opposite. You're making it more of a story that, oh, they don't like each other, because I've never seen Tom Aspinall say anything that he had a problem with Jon Jones. And he's also being pretty hypocritical about the idea that younger fighters typically try to make their name on older fighters' legacies as well.
I just don't even want to do business with him. You know, at the end of the day, this is a business. And fighting me gives him an opportunity to change his life forever. And I don't even want to give him the opportunity. This is a business. And fighting me gives him an opportunity to change his life forever. And I don't even want to give him the opportunity.
Because he did that himself. When he was 23 years old, he made a name off of Mauricio Shogun Rua by beating him when he didn't even have to fight him. He also beat Lyoto Machida, Rampage Jackson, Rashad Evans. He beat a lot of former champions to build the name up and become to the point where he is the name that people were drawing on the card. Because when he won his championship, he wasn't the draw early on. It was Rashad Evans. It was Rampage Jackson. It was the guys that were already champions in UFC and Pride that already had a huge name in the MMA community. That's why when you have a fighter like him or like Ilia Topuria, who just won the title, you feed him those name fighters like Max Holloway, because everybody knows who Max Holloway is. Not everybody necessarily knows who Ilia Topuria is. Not the guy that just won the title. You got to build your name by fighting those established names, and that's all Tom Aspinall is trying to do. But he's the last person to have a problem with that, because he was the one that did the exact same thing. The UFC fed him those names to basically build his name up. While at the same time, I think that he's more concerned that Tom Aspinall will be the Chris Weidman to his Anderson Silva, because the truth is he knows that Father Time is undefeated, and even though he knows in his mind that he's probably the greatest fighter of all time, that he probably can win the same way he always has, you always got to worry about that young, hungry fighter that doesn't have the same issues. It's different between being 37, 38 years old and being, in your prime. He's not in his prime, and he knows that. He hasn't fought very much either. So I'm sure he's feeling his age every day, and he just doesn't want to be that guy that, basically fights the young, hungry fighter that might take him out. So I'm going to end the video there. This is my first UFC video, so if you guys want to see more, please make sure to be a subscriber, hit the like button on that. Let me know in the comment section. That's it. Thanks for watching.